let's see when it goes live. There it is. Alright. Yeah, there it goes. Alright. So hey, how's it going, guys? Today I want to get started with TypeScript. Just try to get a Hello World server going with it using Node and Express. So we'll just open up Mozilla and look up some sort of tutorial on TypeScript. So TypeScript, I don't know, TypeScript tutorial. Let's see what happens. Why is it a different size? Alright, there we go. Yeah, and I want this here. Okay. No, we'll put it up. We'll put it up here. We'll check it every once in a while, see if there's anybody on. Alright. Alright, so it's 8 o'clock. I guess I'll try to check it every 20 minutes or so. Alright. Alright, so let's do docs ts for, I suppose, what's the new programmer? If blah blah blah. So this is just telling you what TypeScript is, but you know, if you know JavaScript, you can, you know, it pretty much adds types to variables and stuff. Variables, classes, so you can create interfaces for them. So it's fairly, I don't want to say intuitive, but it's sort of straightforward what TypeScript does. It just adds static types to JavaScript. So, alright, we'll do the TypeScript handbook. What is this? The basics. Getting started. Alright, we're already here. Alright. Each and every value in JavaScript has a set of behaviors you can observe from running different operations. Sounds abstract, but as a quick example, consider this. Accessing the property, two lowercase on message, and then calling message. We can't reliably say what results we'll get from trying to run any of this code. Behavior of each operation. Okay. Alright, I see. So this is saying that message is some, you know, it's I guess some class, and then you can get a property of that class, or rather you call a method of that class. So this is assuming that message is a class, and this is assuming that message is a function, right? And in JavaScript, you don't really understand if this is allowed at until the program's actually run in runtime, right? So because it's dynamically typed, message can change. Right. So if you're familiar, you'll know this fails with an exception. So here we're saying, okay, const message equals hello world, but you know, this makes sense, right? Strings have a two lowercase method that can be called on them, but you can't call, this message is a literal, right? So you can't call a function when it's a literal. So literals aren't callable. So this wouldn't make any sense for this, but you wouldn't be able to in JavaScript, I guess, understand this at this level, right? Because let's say your message is defined in another file, then this was defined, and if you just do this, then in JavaScript, it's impossible to tell until you get the runtime, and then you'll get this type error. So yeah, this is the same, but for other things like functions, there's no corresponding runtime mechanism to identify their types. So that's why TypeScript comes in and it adds static type checking. So here we're saying const message equals hello. So you see, we've if we could define this as a string, then we would know that this would be an error right off the bat if we had static type checking. And so here, if we had a user, it doesn't have a location property, right? So this would return undefined. But if we had a static type system, right, and what this is saying is that this is actually it's allowed in JavaScript, right, because it's dynamically typed and it can return an undefined, and it would continue running. But usually this is a sign of an error. Usually you don't want to return undefined when you're asking for a particular method you think is part of the user object. So what you got to do, or what TypeScript aims to solve, is make sure that the type of user, right, a user usually is going to be the same across multiple instances of user, and when it's going to check to see if there's a location inside user, because user, you see here, it says a user is pretty much defined as a name of a string, well, a name whose type is string and age whose type is number, and name here is property, well, the property of name is of the type string. And so when you know this interface which corresponds to the user object, then you know when you try to access anything, if you try to access anything that isn't in this interface defined here, then it's gonna give you an error, and that's what TypeScript allows you to do. Alright, so that's sort of the gist of TypeScript. So let's sort of get started. We need a, so where am I? We need to go to Documents, CD Workspace. We'll do, I don't know. We'll do TypeScript tutorial. There, CD TypeScript tutorial. So I'm not going to install it globally, but yeah, this is saying we've been talking about type checking, but we haven't yet used our type checker. Let's get acquainted with our new friend TSC, the TypeScript compiler. First we'll need to grab it via npm. So here I'm just going to, this is an empty folder right now, so I'm just going to npm init. We'll just go through this all. Alright, and then we'll npm I believe we want to save this as a dev dependency actually. Or, I was reading somewhere else about this TypeScript tutorial. Let's see what comes up. I think I did, like, I looked up TypeScript Express tutorial. Was it here? No, it was Split.io that I looked at. So I think, what did they do? How did they install it? Yeah, they installed these as dev dependencies, and why did they do that? So, node environment or browser environment in any client-side app still only understands the JavaScript language. The TypeScript code needs to be transpiled to JavaScript before the package is used in runtime. If someone were using your app as an npm package, you wouldn't need to install the TypeScript dependency, as that person would only use the runtime version of the application or package. For that reason, TypeScript is a development dependency. So this is saying that in an environment where ultimately we need to run JavaScript, TypeScript, what it does is it transpiles, so it pretty much, it compiles a TypeScript file into vanilla JavaScript. And because of that, because the vanilla JavaScript is ultimately what's being run, you don't need it as a full-on dependency, because in production code you don't need all the TypeScript dependencies if ultimately all you're going to be running is JavaScript files. So it's wise to save it or install it as a dev dependency, because otherwise it's just going to bloat your package.json. So I believe that's what we're going to do. But beyond that, I believe we'll follow the tutorial. Okay, so, and that's why when you do, like, entry point here is index.js, TypeScript is ultimately going to be, they call it transcompiling, so it's like it's going to be transcompiled from TypeScript to JavaScript, so still we would need to call our index file index.ts for TypeScript, but ultimately it's going to become index.js. So still, even in Node, I believe, index.js will work even with TypeScript, but I could be wrong about that. I'm not entirely sure. That's something that I want to understand as we explore TypeScript some more, is how it's going to work with Node and Express. Alright, so let's just npm I, instead of -g for global, we're doing -d for dev dependency, and we'll just install TypeScript for now. There was another one that said ts node, but I did not want to do that one. I should commit this file. Node modules, package log. Added one package from contributor. npm install -g npm to update. So this is Debian, and where did this come from? I've been using npm, so let's do npm install -g npm. Yeah, I might as well do that. I feel like that's going to be useful. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I guess bullseye. Well, this is the new Jesus, that's a lot. All right, and this is the new Debian Bullseye that I'm on, so it's Debian 11. Should be the stable version, but it seems that they included 6.14.15 instead of 7.24.1. I tried to just sudo npm install. Let's look it up. Debian update npm. Yeah, so that's what I did. And just, we'll ignore that for now. Alright, so what have I done so far? Well, let's make sure that, alright, so nothing has really happened. And if we do that, npm, and I don't get it, the warning anymore. It's gone away. Well, I don't know what's going on, but oh well. Alright. So do touch hello .ts. Alright, at this point I'm just gonna open up code. Alright, so what have we done so far? We did npm init, which got our package.json, and it's all the defaults. We installed TypeScript as a dev dependency so far, and it includes a package lock. So okay, so we got that. I'd also like to just get init. Yeah, we don't want 180.get ignore node modules. Okay. All right. Get status. Get add all. Get status. Just do git commit. And we'll say that this is initial commit. And after that, git status should be everything. And let's see, I'd like to just put it on GitHub right now. And we'll just call it TypeScript tutorial. We'll just name it the same as this. And we'll create this repository. Push an existing repository from the command line. So git remote add origin. Git branch, blah blah blah. And then we push. Alright, if we go to code, we'll have everything here. Okay, so we have that. So we got it set up for GitHub, and we got everything going on. Alright, so now we have it version controlled as well. Which, did I need to do that? I don't know. But I'd like to maybe eventually take this Hello World TypeScript tutorial and put it on a DigitalOcean droplet just to see how it handles. Also, I'd like to see. Well, let's continue with this and see what we need, because eventually I'd like to set up a linter with all this just to see how the Eslint formats TypeScript. But I have Prettier already, so that'll be enough for now. Alright, so hello.ts, and we'll greet the world. Console.log hello world. And yeah, Prettier's going. It added that semicolon automatically, so cool. So yeah, this is pretty much vanilla JavaScript here, is what it's saying. And we'll do TSC. I believe we might need to run npx in order to do this, but we'll just do TSC. Hello.ts. Right, npx tsc hello.ts. Alright, so that did something. And look, it, like I said, when you run tsc, it'll transcompile the ts, well, the hello.ts into a hello.js, and it happens to be exactly the same. And if we were to make the index.ts, right, then when we transcompile, because remember in package.json we called our main index.js, right, because eventually things are going to be run in JavaScript, not TypeScript. And so when we'll just copy here, you already know what's going to happen, but when we transcompile the index, we'll also get an index.js, and suddenly we have the root JavaScript file for package.json to bind to, right? So we'll delete this too for now. So that's why you leave package.json in JS even though you're working in TypeScript. Alright, we got some file output instead, right? Yeah, so TSC doesn't actually do anything to the original TypeScript, it just compiles it, transcompiles it into a JavaScript file. Okay, so right, in this case there was very little for TypeScript to transform, so it looks identical to what we wrote. The compiler tries to emit clean, readable code that looks like something a person would write. So what about if we did introduce a type checking error? Let's rewrite hello.ts. So function greet person 8. Not that, date. What are we going to do? We're going to console.log hello, whatever is in the value of person. Today is the value of date. And then we add some emphasis. And then we greet Brandon or Brendan. So here you'll notice that we have forgotten date, and TS. So expected 2 arguments but got 1, right? Hello.ts, an argument for date was not provided. And I want to transcompile this, and it should actually throw an error for us, but I believe it will still continue compiling, right? So even if there's an error, it'll continue compiling. And here it's actually telling us the error, an argument for date was not provided, but here in JavaScript you'll actually notice that it doesn't give us any errors. Here it gives us the one error here, but there's no error here. And if I were to do node hello.js, hello Brendan, today is undefined, right? So it actually runs and the function is called correctly, right? It doesn't, JavaScript doesn't actually fail on you, but it's dynamically typed. So date, it ends up returning undefined, so because that would be, because there's nothing for it, there's no definition for date, and so that's why it can continue with the runtime, right? It continues with the runtime because it's dynamically typed and it can recover from such things. But we know that this is an error, and luckily in TypeScript we get that error. Duplicate function implementation. What is this? Function greet person any date any. So let's get rid of this. That's strange. I wonder why. I guess if you have both of them open, then at the same time the error changes because it's saying, oh, we've defined it here and we've also defined it here. But we know that that's not right. So I guess when you're doing TypeScript work, you only want to have the TypeScript open, because then you actually get a meaningful error. All right. All right, so up until now, we haven't, of course, over time you may want to be a bit more defensive against mistakes and make TypeScript act a bit more strictly. In that case, you can use the no omit on error compiler option. Try changing your hello.ts file and running TSC with that flag. So if we are really into TSC, and we think that is that if there is no error, then only then do we actually transcompile. If there is an error, if we do this no omit on error, we'll get nothing after this. So that's when, you know, that's if you really want to make sure that you catch all your errors and you don't update anything if there is even a single error. Alright, so now we're actually going to get into TypeScript. So here, if you'll notice, parameter person, what was it saying? As in any type, but a better type may be inferred from usage. So TypeScript, by default, if there's no parameter or there's no type assigned to a function argument, will implicitly assign the any type. So that's equivalent to saying this, and this colon, then any says that person can be any value and date can be any value, right? So if I were to say Brendan and 5, well, let's call this, I don't know, 2021 05. Man, what is today's date? 09/26, right? And then it should work. So if we do npx, we'll get rid of this no omit on error for now. Although I feel like in the future that's how I'm going to use TypeScript, is with no omit on error. So we get this, and if we do node hello.js, it spits it back to us. So, okay, but you know, we want person to really be a string, because we don't want person to be any, right? We don't want person to be a number or a boolean, but date, what should date be? And so up until now, we haven't told TypeScript what person or date are. Let's edit the code to tell TypeScript that person is a string and that date should be a date object. So date, I believe, is going to be custom made unless it's already there. Okay, so they already have the date interface pre-installed. Alright, so now we won't be able to assign this to date because it's a number and it's not a date object. And what else do we need to do? So we do date dot, because it's an object, we need to convert it to a string. Okay. And that's just a pre-installed function from TypeScript, or pre-installed object with its method to date string. Yeah, so what we did was add type annotations on person and date to describe what types of values greet can be called what. You can read that signature as greet takes a person of type string and a date of type date. Okay. So if we just do this, date, so what do we get? An argument of type string is not assignable to parameter of type date. So I suppose this date constructor returns a string, not a date object, which, to be honest, is a little, you know, it's a little unintuitive, right? But in TypeScript, you catch that error because it tells you right there, oh, you need a date object, but you've got a string here. So that's really neat, right? About TypeScript, it helps you save errors. So on the other hand, constructing a date, yeah, that's what's happening. Perhaps surprisingly, calling date in JavaString returns a string. On the other hand, constructing a date with new date actually gives us what we were expecting. So we say new date, and that is a date object, as it's saying. We don't always have to write explicit type annotations. In many cases, TypeScript can even just infer or figure out the types for us, even if we omit them. So we can let message equals hello there. Ah, that's a Star Wars reference, isn't it? So let message equals hello there. And can we, yeah, here it says message string, so it infers string. That's neat. Alright. Alright, what is this use strict? Yeah. That's a feature, and it's best not to add annotations when the type system would end up inferring the same type anyway. And yeah, I can see that because it's obvious what the type of message is here, right? And TypeScript will enforce this throughout the program. It's only here when it's not quite as intuitive what it would be when it's necessary. Let's take a look at what happens when we compile the above function greet with TSC to output JavaScript. What does useStrict mean? JavaScript useStrict. JavaScript code should be executed in strict mode. could this have already bitten a major site? This seems so simple, but alright, okay. To invoke strict mode for an entire script, put the exact statement, use strict, or use strict before any other statements. It's already bitten a major site. I don't care. Alright, you can also take the wrapping the entire context of a script in a function and having that outer function use strict mode. This eliminates the concatenation problem. Or it doesn't apply to block statements closed. It does not take invalid code. Okay, so you have to actually say var or whatever before assigning it or reassigning it, right? So if there were no other, if it wasn't saying var mistype variable or let mistype it variable, then this will throw an error. Okay, so I guess strict mode is neat. Alright, let's see if there's anything. Okay, nothing going on. So, I want this to be open. I want to restore the chat here. If I'm just going to be keeping it here, then I'd like to restore the chat. I don't need to. Might as well see. Check it up sometimes. Alright. So let's use strict. Okay. Oh, this was the JavaScript. Hold up. If we get rid of this and we npx, is it going to put it in strict mode? Where do we get? Oh, no, it doesn't put it in strict mode automatically. Why does it say it gives use strict here where it doesn't here? It's likely a setting. TypeScript, use strict, and transcompile. Transpile. So if I do npx tsc, so tsc dash dash always strict, will that? Yep, that does it. Okay. I wonder why it doesn't do it automatically like this suggests it does. That's okay. So now we know how to actually put it in so we can get rid of it. Yeah, it's gone now. Alright. Okay, so when we go to hello.js, our person and date parameters no longer have type annotations. That makes sense. This is JavaScript. Our template string this guy is now in regular strings, not template strings, and we're using concatenations. Okay. So, okay, why did template strings rewritten? Because it's from ES6. TypeScript has the ability to rewrite code from newer versions of ECMAScript to older ones such as ES3 and ES5. So I guess we used a ES6 ES6 feature, but we transpiled it to an ES5, which doesn't have that feature, so it had to down level. So that's why it went from template string to concatenated strings. Okay. Oh, TypeScript targets ES3, which is an extremely old version of ECMAScript. I guess it would be nice to target. So what do we do? I feel like the always strict is going to be helpful. I liked the no emit on error, and we will specify our target as ES 2015. Let's see if that works. Right, so TSC understands that this is not an error, but I suppose the VS Code doesn't, so that's good. Right, because this is the error that happens when we have hello.js open at the same time. And here, because we've transpiled it to ES6, it retains the template. Call it a template string? Yeah, template string. All right. Strictness. Different users come to TypeScript looking for different things. Looking for a more loose opt-in experience. And several TypeScript checking strictness flags that can be turned on or off, and all of our examples will be written with all of them enabled unless otherwise stated. The strict flag in the CLI, or strict true in a tsconfig.json. Oh, so we can have a tsconfig.json. That's cool. So we don't, I doubt. So if we have this tsconfig.json, I think we can specify these things in it, which would be nice. Strict. So if we can put the strict flag as well, and compiles, and what it is, and I guess the biggest ones, that the strict flag, that two of the bigger checks that it does is no implicit any and strict null checks. So at this point, it pretty much says no implicit any, so we wouldn't be able to do this if we had the no implicit any. Oh, and you'll notice that if this happens, then we have a no emit on error, right? Doesn't populate the hello.js. So that's what the no implicit any does, and strict null checks. By default, values like null and undefined are assignable to any other type. This can make writing some code easier, but forgetting to handle null and undefined is the cause of countless bugs in the world. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's a nice check. Yeah, I'm going to keep that one. I like strict. All right. Okay. Yeah, so at this point, I think I know how to set it up. You can, like, it would be good to go into a fast-paced tutorial to figure out what, well, to know what all this is going to do, so it's just walking you through TypeScript, but at the moment I would prefer to make a Hello World server inside, well, in the Node Express environment using TypeScript. So we're going to do that. So let's get rid of this. We'll now go, I want to look up the tsconfig, how that works. Alright, by invoking tsc with no input files, in which case the compiler searches for the tsconfig file. Okay, so I suppose if we get rid of this, then a tsconfig would be auto-generated? No, it doesn't. How do I generate that? Blah, 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 blah. Person string, date to date. How did that happen? Oh, okay, so tsc dash dash init creates a tsconfig.json. So npx tsc dash dash init. There we go. All right, that's a lot of options. All right, so what were the options that we liked? We wanted always strict, so that puts use strict in the JS file, and strict has those two checks that we, or includes those two checks that we saw. We want ES6, I believe. I thought it said that default was ES5. I'm sorry, ES3, not ES5. Alright, common JS, okay. Alright, so at this point, I want to make a new folder, and we'll call this source. And that's where all of our TypeScript files are going to go. I saw this trick in the Traversy Media tutorial on TypeScript, so that's a nice resource to get a handle on all of this. But source and dist, and dist is where all of the JavaScript is going to go, and source is where all the TypeScript is going to go. So when we transpile from TS to JavaScript, the transpilation is going to look in source and transpile to dist, and we'll set that up here. Why is this giving an error? File. Document workspace TypeScript tutorial. Hello.ts not found. This file is in the program because matched by pattern. If I do that, this why? Alright, I don't understand. But whatever. Okay, so let's figure out. Specify the root folder within your source files. /source. Oh, so it's trying to find the TypeScript. So yeah, we wanted to find this. Base URL. Is that what we want? Out directory. This is what we want. We want this to be dist. Okay, so let's see if this works. If we just do npx tsc and we get the hello.js. Cool. Alright, so it works. So those two works. Now we want to find always strict, no emit. Target should already be taken care of. So hello should be, yeah, it's you have the template string. So let's get rid of target, and the template string should still be there. Remember when we didn't have this target before, it did string concatenation. So let's get rid of this and do this again. Ah, it has string concatenation. Okay, okay. ES5, right, so we want this to be ES6. And now, so I guess the command line overwrites the tsconfig, and now we have the template string, so that works. So we've figured that out, and now we want, okay, so now we want to find a strict flag. Or sorry, always strict. Yes, we want that to be true. We want strict to be true. Okay, enable all strict type checking options. Cool. So strict and always strict should be true. So if we go here, let's delete this. If we save this, we go here, we do no emit on error. What happens? Do we get use strict? If we get rid of this, then I believe it will disappear. Oh, it's still there. We'll keep this to always strict. It could be included in this strict true, but we'll keep it there just in case. Now we want no emit on error. Alright, so I believe that should be it. So now we would do npx tsc. Everything is set up for us. So it will transpile everything from source into dist. Beautiful. So yeah, do it one more time. npx tsc, and there it goes. Cool. Alright, so we got that set up now. Let's check the stream. Okay. I want to make sure you actually hear me, but yeah. The volume is pretty good. All right. I'm gonna get some water. I'll be right back. Alright. So I believe we're at the point where things are looking good. So now I believe we have this all set up, and we want to do a node application. So let's do express hello world. So right now I want to commit. So git add dot, and yeah, we want dist and source in the GitHub. Actually we don't want dist because that's after compile. So we'll get rid of dist. And we'll keep source. And so that way, and maybe we'll just say a readme. We'll add a readme. So we'll touch readme.md, and here we're going to call this TypeScript tutorial, and what it's going to be to transpile run npx to transpile run the following. npx tsc. Alright. So when you receive this from GitHub, you gotta clone it, and then if you want the we want the dist folder, but we don't want everything in it. So I gotta do this. How do I do that? Git ignore everything inside folder without ignoring folder. There you go. So we want to exclude everything, but then we also want to make an exception to dist /git keep. Oh, well, okay, I guess this guy is saying to do this. Okay, so that works, right? So this is grayed out, but this is added to the tracker, and this maintains the green. Okay, so git add dot, git status, git commit, and here we're just going to say that we've made TypeScript hello world. Okay, and then git push, and then that should be it. And git pull, already up to date. Beautiful. Okay. I suppose you ought to do git pull and then git push, and Pulling without specifying how to reconcile divergent branches is discouraged. You can squelch this message by running one of the following commands. GitHub, let's see what GitHub defaults to. GitHub default pull config, because we're using GitHub. So we want to pull with rebase. GitHub. Does GitHub pull with rebase? I believe it does. Pull. I think it does it. I think they do rebase. So I'm going to do git config pull.rebase true. And I'm going to make it global because I don't want to keep on screwing around with that. So, okay, GitHub. Sorry, we don't want that. We want TypeScript tutorial. And now if we do a git push, no, git pull, git push. Alright, beautiful. Alright, so now we want to do express hello world. So and since we put it in dist, I believe we want to put this as dot slash dist slash index.js. Or rather just dist slash index.js. I wonder what happens if we just npm run. Now I'm wondering how to package.json main. So module ID, that is the primary entry point to your program. That is, if you package is named foo, the user installs it and then does require foo, then your main module's exports object will be returned. So main is really useful only if you have if you're creating a module. So I guess it really doesn't matter all that much, but I'll just keep it like this anyway. So we're going to now delete this and delete this as well. And we'll just call a new index. Index ts, and we'll do help express hello world. Copy this. Okay. Cannot find name required. Do you need to install type definitions for Node? What's going on here? No inputs were found in config file. I've got no clue what's happening there. Can't even. Problems. Copy message. If I get rid of this, well, let's copy this, get rid of this. Does that change that? No, yeah, I didn't think it would. Base URL. No, we don't care about URL. So if I have a TS there, then it likes it, but if I don't, then I get an error. Right? Or no? What is going on? Alright, there's something up. Alright. Declared, but its value is never read. TypeScript parameter rec implicitly has an any type. Alright, so what would be express? Alright, now let's figure out how to do TypeScript with express. Alright, I gotta figure out my lasagna. So this is probably going to be the end of this stream. Or no. I'm just gonna do my lasagna. I'll do this more credit. Oh man, it's hot. Alright, in 5 minutes I gotta go back. So, alright. So we have to figure out why. Okay. TypeScript cannot find name require. Okay. So we'll do that. Something. var require, node require, ID string, any. Okay, so that problem went away with that. I don't know if I need to do this. What does this say? Alright, require may be converted to an import. So let's do npxtsc and see what happens. Right, we have 2 errors. If we comment these out, alright, we get index. Okay, so that works. I don't know why we would need to do this. So let's look up tsconfig types. Alright, there's my lasagna again. Let me get to it. Alright, so in a few minutes I'll get the lasagna. It'll cool down. Sorry about that. So, alright, so now we gotta figure out how to get rid of these errors here. And we'll format it a little better. Alright. Oh shit, was that index? Oh, my bad. So we know this will work, right? So if we were to do node, I guess /dist/index /dist/index. Ooh. Express, we need to install Express. That is true. I always forget to do that. Alright, so yeah, it's gonna work. So even with those errors in TypeScript, we know this is going to work. But we want to, you know, be thorough with TypeScript. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Then we'll go back here. We'll try to figure out these type errors. Alright. That's way too long. Alright. TypeScript with type of rec express. Let's see. Also, why is it doing double quotes? I want single quotes. Let's go to Document, Workspace, Eslint. We'll copy this to here. All right. Right, so semicolon true, single quote true, use tabs, bracket spacing false. Yeah, that's how I like it. All right. Express.request. Oh, nope, nope, nope. That's not what I wanted. Oh, man. Express.request. So does he var app equals express? Oh, so we can do at types expressed in the same way that we did at types node, right? Is that what we did? We did npm install at types node. So that allowed us to have this require. So if we do npm I at types express, and did we install that as a dev dependency? Yes, we did. I believe that will help. And then we do express dot request and express. Is it uppercase or lowercase? So it is uppercase, okay. So we still need to do that. Untype response. Oh God. Does that work? This was in 2014, so let's go back to this guy again. Will TSC actually work? Right, so that's actually an error that it sees. Alright, let's go back to that tutorial, because this is a little odd. Split IO. Um, no way. What is index.d.ts? So did they define their own type for request? I'm using the namespace, so I don't need to import these from Express. How to use express types. All right. So this is just the hello world. I don't know why I put it in source. It should be in dist, but that's okay. Alright, so it just does that. Save dev TypeScript, okay. So we go to here. Wow, what does he use? ES module interop. So where is the compiler options? It's all of these. right? Yeah, it's all of them. Okay. Module common JS, ES module interrupt. Okay. Target ES6, we've done that. No implicit any. True, which is what we've done. Module resolution, node. Specify how it looks up a file from a given module. Doesn't change anything with that. I mean, that was the default too. Alright, source map. Is true, so that's just default. Source map files for emitted JavaScript files. Out directory, dist. Okay. Base URL dot. What is base URL? Specify the base directory to resolve non-module names. Might as well. Paths. Okay, this is different. All right. Include. I believe I've already done this. Pre-build, build, pre-start, blah, blah, blah. npm start. No dot. So I don't have the Eslint, so this won't be an error. TypeScript prefers to use the import module over require, so you'll be start by changing the first line. Require. That's more like that wasn't TypeScript. That was more like a VS Code thing, wasn't it? No, I guess it is TypeScript. Okay. Okay, we can do that. It's not going to change. Yeah, I've done this. And it doesn't understand request and response. So if I delete this and delete this, I'll still get errors, right? Or no, it's done. So right when I had to install TypeScript, it must have fixed it. Oh man, that was a lot of work for nothing. All right, at least we got it, and I guess we have a map. I don't know what this means at all. What is this? All right, I'm gonna get rid of that in the TS config. So, what was it? Module map? No. map source map true. No, we're not going to make it true. Because I don't like it. So if we do this and we do it again, I believe we won't actually get that source map. Alright, cool. So maybe one of these options fixed it. So I'll leave it as it is. So I guess these are the magic config options. Module resolution node. So if I get rid of this, because that's what happened, right? So it's all these. This was all the way over here, right? Is that gonna go away? That should be it. Source map true. Oh, ooh. Oh wait, no, that's gone, and this is here. There we go. All right. Output directory there. Commit to ease support for importing. This enables allow synthetic default for type compatibility. Wonder what the index.js. Oh man. So what is this? Oh, this must be that interop thing. So now I'm allowed to use import and then, okay, so now I can do an import from instead of a require statement, and it automatically does it for me here, which is nice. All right, that's nice. Target ES6, blah blah. Alright, I'm not sure why it works now as opposed to before, but it could just be a matter of these config options, so I'm just gonna leave it and thank this guy, whoever developed it. Mr. David Neal, thank you. Alright. So we'll get rid of this, get rid of this. And now I believe we have a running server. So we do dist/index.js and a local host. Oh shoot, local ho, right. All right, it works. So we have a TypeScript thing going. Cool, nice. Yeah, dev dependencies and dependencies express. All right, cool stuff. Cool stuff. So, all right, so that works. Now let's install Eslint because I want to have it work with that. But first, I'm gonna take a little break and make myself a plate of lasagna so that you can hear me munch on it. I'll be back. Okay. So I'm gonna go to workspace. Eslint for your setup. What does this tell me to do? Alright, pretty much npm I-d eslint config prettier. Alright, and then after that we do npx eslint --init. So I want to do this. We are going to be using JavaScript modules, right? We do this. We are not using a front-end framework, and we are using TypeScript, and we're going to be in Node. And I like the Google one, so we'll keep it in JSON. Yes. Alright. Oh, I should have git committed, but oh well. Okay, now let's open up source. And we get rid of this. Is Eslint on? Yep. Cool. Now if we go here, what would happen? Strings must use single quotes. If I do let. Okay, const this. All right. Don't save, and then we're going to delete this, and then we're going to redo it. So I guess we're not going to lint the dist, right? So all in all, it doesn't matter. Really what matters is if the source file passes through the lint, and it does, so that's cool. All right, so that's that. All right, let's see. Alright, still working. Alright, cool. So that's pretty much all I wanted to do was create this Hello World app in TypeScript. So I'm just going to git commit it now. So we'll go to GitHub. So git add dot git status. Yes, so okay, git commit hello world TypeScript server with lint, with the Eslint. Okay, and then git pull, git push. Alright, so then if we go to TypeScript tutorial, and it works, and distribution should have nothing, and source will have the index.ts. Alright, very cool. So we got a TypeScript server going. Nice. I think next time I'm gonna explore DigitalOcean and just get this on a droplet there and try to add like a Docker image. Let's try to make this into a Docker image next time. So I'm gonna make this into a Docker image, and then I'm gonna try to download that image onto the DigitalOcean droplet so that we can deploy this Hello World server. Alright, cool stuff. Well, that should be the end of the stream now. I hope you liked it. I'm not checking this chat very much because it's all, I'm not expecting too much interaction at the moment, but it was good. I'm glad I did this though. Alright. I'm sure it was very slow because, as you can tell, I'm sort of a beginner at all of this, but I think I'm on the way to making something cool and becoming more experienced. So I'm glad I'm recording it though, so that way it gives me impetus to actually make these live streams and I don't know, just continue coding and try to focus on specific tasks that I want to do. But yeah, good stuff. Well, thanks for watching, and next time we'll try to post this thing.